The Soviet Union, a superpower that once spanned 11 time zones and dominated global politics for much of the 20th century, collapsed in December 1991. But how did one of the most powerful empires in history disintegrate so suddenly? Let's unravel the complex story behind the breakup of the USSR. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Fellow Learner. Today, we're diving into one of the most significant geopolitical events of the 20th century, the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Stick around as we break it down step by step. Let's get started. The USSR was officially established in 1922 after the Russian Revolution and the Civil War that followed. For nearly 7 decades, it was a global superpower, competing with the United States during the Cold War. But by the 1980s, cracks in the Soviet system began to show. Imagine a country trying to manage over 100 ethnic groups, 15 republics, and a centrally planned economy that controlled everything from steel production to bread prices. The system worked for a while, but by the 1980s, it started to fall apart. The Soviet economy, once hailed for its rapid industrialization, became a victim of its own inefficiencies. A centrally planned economy meant there were no incentives for productivity or innovation. By the 1980s, the economy faced several critical challenges. 1. Low productivity. 2. Chronic food shortages. 3. Over-reliance on oil exports. When global oil prices fell, the situation worsened. And let's not forget, the USSR spent heavily on the military and space programs, diverting resources from basic needs like food and housing. People were fed up, and trust in the government was eroding fast. The USSR was held together by its communist ideology and the iron grip of the Communist Party. But by the 1980s, the ideology was losing its appeal. Many people, especially in non-Russian republics, began questioning why Moscow had so much control over their lives. This discontent fueled nationalist movements. The Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, were among the first to push for independence. And they weren't alone. In 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev became the leader of the Soviet Union. He introduced bold reforms to fix the system. Perestroika, or restructuring, aimed to modernize the economy by allowing limited market mechanisms. 2. Glasnost, or openness, encouraged transparency and allowed people to openly criticize the government. Sounds good in theory, right? But here's the catch: these reforms backfired. The economy spiraled into chaos, and Glasnost unleashed a flood of grievances that had been bottled up for decades. Instead of saving the USSR, Gorbachev's reforms empowered nationalist and separatist movements across the republics. The USSR was a multi-ethnic empire, with Russians dominating other groups. By the late 1980s, republics like Ukraine, Armenia, and Georgia began demanding greater autonomy, or outright independence. The Baltic states led the charge, declaring independence by 1990. Ethnic tensions also boiled over in places like Nagorno-Karabakh, adding to the instability. The final year of the Soviet Union was chaotic. In August 1991, hardline communists staged a coup to overthrow Gorbachev. The coup failed, but it weakened Gorbachev's authority and emboldened the republics to push for independence. And then came the Belovezh Accords in December 1991. Leaders from Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus declared that the Soviet Union no longer existed. This officially marked the end of the USSR. The breakup of the USSR had far-reaching consequences. 1. 15 new nations emerged, including Russia, Ukraine, and the Baltic states. 2. Many of these countries faced economic crises and political instability. And globally, the Cold War came to an end. The United States became the world's sole superpower, while Russia struggled to find its footing as the successor state of the USSR. The collapse of the Soviet Union wasn't caused by a single event, it was the result of decades of economic stagnation, political mismanagement, and social unrest. Gorbachev's reforms, while well-intentioned, acted as the catalyst for a process that was already in motion. So, what do you think? Was the collapse inevitable, or could things have turned out differently? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into history and geopolitics. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.